Myself Amrita Varshni from Triple final year, and now in this presentation I am going to share my contents on the topic charge formation in clouds. The contents are charge formation in clouds, theories based on charge separation, Simpson's theory, Reynolds and Mason's theory, rate of charging of thunderclouds. Yes, this is the picture of lightning. We all know that lightning is an electrical discharge that occurs due to the formation of the charge in the cloud. Now, let us see about charge formation in clouds. The factors that contribute to the formation or accumulation of charge in the clouds are too many and uncertain. But during thunderstorms, positive and negative charges become separated by the heavy air currents with the ice crystals in the upper part and rain in the lower parts of the cloud. This charge separation depends on the height of the clouds, which range from 200 to 10,000 meters with their charge centers probably at a distance of about 300 to 2000 meters. The volume of the clouds that participate in Simpson's theory of lightning flashover are uncertain, but the charge inside the cloud may be as high as 1 to 100 coulomb. Clouds may have a potential as high as 10 power 7 to 10 power 8 with field gradients ranging from 100 volt per centimeter within the cloud to as high as 10 kilovolt per centimeter at the initial discharge point. The energies associated with the cloud discharge can be as high as 250 kilowatt hour. It is believed that the upper regions of the clouds are usually positively charged, whereas the lower region and base are predominantly negative. Expect the local region near the base and the head which is positive. A probable charge distribution model is given here with the corresponding field gradient at the cloud. See, they are positively charged in the upper parts and the negatively charged in the lower parts. Now let us see about the theories based on the charge separation. There are two theories based on charge separation, Simpson's theory and Reynolds and Mason theory. According to Simpson theory of lightning, there are three essential regions in the cloud to be considered for charge formation. Below region A, air currents travel above 800 cm per second and no raindrops fall through. In region A, air velocity is very high enough to break the falling raindrops, causing a positive charge spray in the cloud and negative charge in the air. The spray is blown upwards, but as the velocity of the air decreases, the positively charged water drops recombine with the larger drops and fall again. Thus, region A eventually becomes predominantly positively charged, while region B above it becomes negatively charged by air currents. In the upper region of cloud, the temperature is very low, below the freezing point, and only ice crystals exist. The impact of the air in these crystals make them negatively charged. Thus, the distribution of the charge within the cloud is as shown. See, this is the model of Simpson's theory of the charge formation in cloud. In this, the air current is flowing through the cloud via the region A, then B and then C. The A region is of about 0 degrees Celsius, while the B region is of about minus 10 degree and the C region is of about minus 20 degrees Celsius. The ice crystals are shown in this cloud, which is in the region C. However, the above Simpson theory of lightning is obsolete and the explanation presented is not satisfactory. So, recently Reynolds and Mason's proposed modification according to which the according to which the thunder clouds are developed at a height of about 1 to 2 kilometer above the ground level, and they go up to 14 kilometer above the ground. For thunder clouds and charge formation air currents, moisture and specific temperature range are required. The air currents controlled by the temperature gradient move upwards carrying moisture and water droplets. The temperature is 0 degrees Celsius at about 4 km from the ground and may reach minus 50 degrees Celsius at about 12 km height. But water droplets do not freeze as soon as the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. They freeze below minus 40 degrees Celsius only as solid particles on which crystalline ice patterns develop and grow. The large number of solid sites or nuclei present, the higher is the temperature at which the ice crystals grow. Thus, in clouds, the effective freezing temperature ranges around minus 33 degrees Celsius to minus 40 degrees Celsius. The water droplets in the thunder cloud are blown up by the air currents and get supercooled over a range of heights and temperature. When the upward moving supercooled water droplets act as a cooler hailstone, it freezes partially. That is, the outer layer of the water droplet freezes, forming a shell with water inside. When the process of cooling extends to inside warmer water in the core, it expands, thereby splintering and spraying the frozen ice shell. The splinters, being fine in size, are moved up by the air currents and carry a net positive charge to the upper region of the cloud. The hailstone that travel downwards carry an equivalent negative charge to the lower regions of the cloud, and thus negative charge builds up in the bottom side of the cloud. According to Mason, the ice splinters should carry positive charge upwards. Water, being ionic in nature, has concentration of H plus and OH minus ions. The ion density depends upon the temperature. Thus, in an ice slab with upper and lower surfaces at temperatures T1 and T2, T1 will be greater than T2. There will be a higher concentration of ions in the lower region. However, since H plus ions are much lighter, they diffuse much faster all over the volume. Therefore, the large portion which is warmer will have a net negative charge density, and hence the upper portion, that is cooler region, will have a net positive charge density. Hence, it must be appreciated that the outer shells of the frozen water droplets coming into contact with the hailstone will be relatively cooler and therefore acquire a net positive charge. When the shell splinters, the charge carried by them in the upward direction is positive. The charging polarity will be reversed when the temperature conditions are reversed. Now let us see about the rate of charging of the thunderclouds. Mason considered the thunderclouds to consist of a form of uniform mixture of positive and negative charges. Let E be the electric field intensity, V be the velocity of separation of charges, and rho be the charge density in the cloud. Then the electric field intensity E is given by dE differentiation of electric field intensity plus lambda E, which will be equal to rho V. Now E is equal to rho V by lambda into 1 minus exponential of minus lambda T. This equation assumes initially E equal to 0 at T equal to 0. The start of charge separation, that is, there is no separation initially. Let Q be the separated charge and Qs be the generated charge. then it is given as rho is equal to Qg by AH, where E is equal to Qs by A epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of the medium, A is the cloud area, and H is the height of the charged region. Now on substitution, Qg will be equal to Qsh by V into 1 minus exponential of minus lambda t, which will be equal to m by V into 1 minus exponential of minus lambda t, where m is equal to Qs dot h. That will be the electric moment of the thunderstorm. The average values observed for thunderclouds are time constant 20 seconds, electric moment m equal to 110 coulomb kilometer, and time for first lightning flash to appear will be equal to 20 seconds. The velocity of charge separation will be equal to 10 to 20 meter per second. On substituting all these values, we get Qg is equal to 20,000 by V into V coulomb. That will be equal to 1000 coulomb for V is equal to 20 meter per second. The theory and the observation of Reynolds gave values 5 into 10 power 9 ESU per crystal impact for the temperature difference of 5 degrees Celsius. Mason's theory seems to give much higher value, yet it explains phenomenon satisfactorily. So this is all about the rate of charge formation in the thunderclouds, about Simpson and Mason's theory, and also about the charge formation in the cloud. Thank you.